Hey, everybody, it is Monday. Monday? Monday, right? Monday.
Yes.
We don't do these on a Monday, so it's a little weird. It is Monday, February 27th, 2023. You are listening to Black Box Signal, a podcast on the internet about video games. I'm your host, Chase Johnson, and joined always by my illustrious co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, Brandon Gaston. What's going on?
Oh man, it's going. I'd say bearded legend, but it's really there anymore.
Yeah, you got a little shade going on, man. For those watching the video feed,
Yep.
had to get yourself cleaned up.
Mm-hmm. Had to let it go. Too many gray hairs.
Oh, too many grays. Yeah. So I get them in my eyebrows right now. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I gotta get that. Gotta get them eyebrows trimmed, dude. That's what I'm doing. And they're already caterpillars to begin with, but. I do, dude. I got thick, dark eyebrows. I do. I'm surprised it doesn't turn into a uni. Like, I get the light baby hairs that you can't really see, but
Yeah, just wax it. You'll be fine.
yeah, it's fine. I got a cosmetologist for a wife. She'll wax them, even though I don't let her do it because that shit hurts. Dude, okay. So this would be funny for opening banter section. So I'm like mildly allergic to bee stings, and I didn't think it was like I didn't know exactly why. I would just swell up a little bit. And when she was in cosmetology school and had to go do waxing for eyebrows, I obviously she's my wife. I'm gonna go volunteer. You need credit to wax the eyebrows. I'll get my eyebrows waxed. Well, they use like a bees based wax, and she did it, and literally like later on in the afternoon, I just like broken out in hives all along my eyebrows.
No.
Yup. And she was like, "Oh no. Yup. It was all. I mean, I have bad skin to begin with, but like add that on top of that, like, yikes.
That's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yup. Yeah. Things you do for the ones you love.
Mm-mm-mm.
Took a bullet there.
That's too funny.
Yep.
That's crazy though. I didn't know you were mildly allergic to bees. You know I am too, right?
No, I didn't. See, I don't have to worry about like EpiPens or anything like that. Luckily, but
Neither do I.
I like have an allergic reaction, like a mild allergic reaction. So
Yeah. My mom's definitely allergic to bees, but usually for me it's mosquito bites. Like when I get mosquito bites, it swells up like a spider bite. They're awful.
oh wow. And then I talk about all the time my issues with the mowing the lawn. It starts off being okay, and then it becomes a race against the clock where it's like you see me starting to speed up with the mower a little bit, and then I start breaking into a jog, and then before I know it, I'm running into the house, dropping all my clothes at the door, and jumping right in the shower.
Freaking panting like
nope,
you can't breathe.
Nope. Eyes are swollen shut.
Yep. That's rough.
So what have you been getting into this week? Yeah, I know we don't have a whole lot, at least in our sections, but
dude. So here's the thing. We've been asking for something for years as fans in the RPG franchise.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And Sony decided to bless us with Legend of Dragoon. And let me tell you what, there's some good and some bad. So when I picked it up, it was like $10 on the PlayStation Store, which honestly, pretty steal of a deal. But when it launched, dude, I don't even know how they let that go like that. Like, we were discussing this like in my Twitch chat because I was streaming it the other day, and we were like, how did that even get past like the debug process? Because like it was so broken. There was like audio inconsistencies, graphic inconsistencies, and the big part was like some people, like I was reading online, couldn't even use the Dragoon transformations, period. Like not at all. It was really bad, and it was disheartening to see that. Like us as fans, we thought that that's like, dude, slap in the face. You know what I mean?
Right.
Could you imagine them bringing like a game that you loved like that back? Like, oh, here's a good deal on it, and then you go to play it and you can't because it's utterly broken. Like,
yeah, when I heard you originally talking about that, I was like, I never played the game growing up, so I'm not gonna pretend to say that I know anything about it. But I know a lot of people, like I have other friends other than you that really like that game, and I remember that like you just being like, hey, I'm picking it up. And I'm like, oh, Legend of Dragoon's out. It's cool. And then you message me, or I see that we have a Google Doc note that we share, and I see the note just say Legend of Dragoon. Oh boy. And
Yeah.
and then I was
Yeah.
like, oh, must be something wrong with it. And then after me and you
Yeah.
talked about it like off pod, I started seeing it all over Twitter. I was like, oh, maybe it's just isolated. And I'm like, oh no.
No,
Oh
not at all.
no. Like out of all, and I know this game is beloved. So like out of all the games to mess it up on, ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Like you're talking, I found a long ass Reddit post and people were like, how is like an unlicensed program run this stuff better than something officially put out by Sony? Like, how does that even happen? And
Happens more
yeah,
than
it
you
was
think, though.
pretty sad. Like a lot of the stuff that people were reporting, thankfully, I didn't have any issues with. But then again, I was running it like on native save files, which for people that don't know, like typically with like any sort of like I don't really, the only term I know is an emulator. I'm
You
just
say
gonna use the
emulator.
term.
Yeah.
Because that's essentially what it is. It's an
It is.
emulated
Yeah.
game.
100%.
They allow like save states and stuff like
Yep.
that. And I never used that kind of stuff. So I was always just saving at the regular save times you could in the actual game. And I think that saved my game a lot because I was able to get all the way to pretty much disc 3 with minimal problems. I mean, yeah, there's like no magic really that I could use, but I mean, it was kind of cool. Like I was telling you, we were texting, like it was almost like a challenge run, right? Because it's like, well, I'm not really using any magic or anything. So, I mean,
Right.
it was kind of fun, made it a little bit more challenging, forced me to kind of like actually practice and learn the game mechanics from when I was a kid.
Move away
So,
from your initial play style that you played, you know.
yes, because so in this game they have what's called additions. So basically, when you do like a physical attack on somebody, you get like a button prompt, and you have to hit them at the specific time in order to do your move or whatever. And like, I'm not gonna lie, I was shied away a lot from those and used a lot of magic as a crutch because as a kid I was just like, I can't do these. These are too complex or whatever. So it kind of forced me to have to get better at them. So that's pretty cool. But the good news is today, while we were at work, I happened to see a post on Twitter of just patch whatever and it being downloaded. And I was like, bro,
Thank
there's
God.
no
Yeah,
way.
fixed. I saw, yeah, you retweeted it and it was like it fixed. Have you played it since? Did it fix pretty much everything or
Oh yeah, I have not noticed any problems yet. I played for a good probably hour before we just went live. And everything seems fine. I tested like 3 or 4 different spells, totally fine. No slowdowns, no frame drops, really, no nothing. Audio seems pretty solid, holding up. I mean, you still get some weird graphical stuff, but I mean, it's a PS1 game, right?
Right.
So like that was in the like the regular game when you got it on PS1 anyways. So I mean, I just chalked that up as, goofy stuff from the hardware constraints of the time. But yeah,
Right.
it seems to have totally fixed the game. It's totally great as of now. Before the patch, I was going to tell you guys probably be a wait on it, right? Even if you're a diehard fan, I would wait on it. But now at $10, dude,
I guess it's
solid.
I guess it's a good thing then we waited to today to do this cuz I knew yesterday you're going to be like going to say wait, and now literally just 24 hours later.
Yep, it's a go. I would definitely pick it up. Like if you're a diehard fan, for sure, you got to get it. You can buy it for $10, or you can play it for essentially free if you have like platinum PS Plus or whatever.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm kind of a cheap guy, so like $10 just to own it forever. The steal of a deal, in my opinion.
Hell yeah.
And then for anybody that's like never really played it, like if you're wanting to get into RPGs or you like RPGs and never played it, 100% I say pick it up. Or at least if you already have top tier subscription for PS Plus, try it out because it's an RPG, but it's got cool different style mechanics than what you're probably used to. So yeah, I think it's fun. It's goofy. It's got a lot of goofy stuff in the game. like just funny scenes. Some of the characters are just real bizarre and out there, and it's yeah, it's definitely cool. And the AMV videos in it, top notch still.
Yeah.
PS1 era, I don't care. They still look sick. So
I'm a sucker for full motion video, like the actual video that they use, like they used to use in like the Resident Evil movie or the Resident Evil 1, like the actual like really shitty shot.
oh
That's
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
love that. I love cheesy FMV, like cheesy bad FMV. Like, oh, like wait, don't go.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly puts his hand down. Oh
Resident
man.
Evil was cool because they had like that mix between like the actual people and
Right.
then they had like the AMV videos also.
Yep. Yep. Ah. Oh, good times. Good times.
Yes.
Good broken times. Um, I don't have too much this week either. I wrote down. I added one last second. I wrote in Fire Emblem check-in because like I know I was kind of like hot and cold on it, but now that I've gotten into like the mechanics of Fire Emblem a little bit, that game fucking rules. Um,
Yeah.
it's like even though the story is not good, the changes that they made to the gameplay are so smart. Um, I need to get deeper into it to probably get a little bit more into it, but just so far, I'm having a lot more fun. I've noticed I'm having a lot more fun with the battles than I was in the last one. The last one I was just trying to like get through the motions to get to the next story beat.
Slog through it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this one I'm actually like enjoying There's still kind of a slog. I'm still trying to get through them a little bit, but I'm enjoying it a lot more. So
Mm-hmm.
that's good.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Do they have the rewind mechanic in this one?
Yeah. I
Okay,
just
good.
got it
Yeah.
not that long ago.
Yeah.
So they do still have that. And I'm also playing on the casual mode because I'm sorry, I have bad anxiety. I don't want to deal with the fact that if a character dies, they're
They die
gone forever.
permanently.
I mean, they didn't allow that option in the game, I would save scum. I would just, if I died and lost a character in battle, I'd be like, oh, reloading that save.
Oh,
So I was doing, so I was doing it, so I was doing it anyway. So I like just being able to be like, oh, if they die, they're just gone for the rest of the battle, and then you get them back like that. You know, that eases my anxiety. But yeah, I'm still playing at that. Hope maybe I'll get another stream of that in. I know we've both been saying we've been going to be streaming, but once again, I've been dealing with a sick baby. So 5 months old and just
suit yourself. I streamed. I mean, it wasn't
you
ogre
did.
like I said,
Yeah,
but it was.
you did stream Dragoon. Yeah, that's right. I need to set it up so those pop up on this channel, on the Twitch channel. And then I've been playing, actually, the thing that I played the most, even though it's a little bit of an older game and we touched on it last week, I've been playing more, getting back into God of War Ragnarok. I was talking to one of my cubicle neighbors at work today, and he said, like, based on what I said, light spoilers here, I'm going to try to leave things out. I got to Vanaheim. I'm right where you get to Vanaheim for the second time. I have the other weapon. I'm going to say this very loosely, tamed the dog. So that's where I'm at. And he said I'm very close. I'm pretty close to the end now.
Yeah, you've got so
yes and no.
This is not really a spoiler, but there is a section coming up that's right before the end of the game that's really long.
So what he said is if I mainline the story, I'm not very far from the end, which is what I do anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because that's fair. Because me and our friend Slick talked about that, about how like one of the biggest side quest heavy areas you put right before the end of the game, which kind of doesn't make sense. But
yeah. So I'm hoping to have that finished by next week. I know there's like a little epilogue quest that my cubicle neighbor said that I have to play that part. So I'm gonna do that too. Yeah.
Yes, you need to.
Okay.
Yes, there is an alternate boss, if you will, that yes, you have to.
Okay.
I chose not to do it because I returned the game back to you, but yes, you do need to.
Okay. So then we'll definitely do that. But yeah, still plays like God of War. Can't really complain about it, especially like I said, as somebody who wasn't a big fan of those original games. The writing in this is super strong. So and then the last thing I want to check in on is they finally released the other two more episodes of the NieR anime. Originally I watched episodes 1 through 3, and then they took like a bit of a break because I guess they're doing a Portuguese dub and a Spanish dub.
Oh,
So they
okay.
had to kind of catch those up, and then now they released
Hmm.
the Japanese sub. No English dub yet. But I watched episode 4, and that is the episode when you go to the amusement park. So
Oh, God, yes. That
yeah,
is my favorite. You know how much I love the music in that area. It's my
I
favorite.
mean, we've talked about this off pod before, and anybody that's been following me on Twitter forever know this soundtrack in the entire game is a fucking banger.
Yep.
But
Slapper for sure.
yeah, yeah, um,
I listen to it constantly at work, like
yep,
all the time.
hmm
In the car, whatever. It's great.
yep, and so yeah, that was the one, and then I guess this next episode, I wish I had time to watch it before I came in to the podcast tonight, but I guess it has like a ton of like Easter eggs and like little nods to at least NieR. It'd be cool if there's some Drakengard nods too, but to the original NieR or NieR Replicant / NieR Gestalt. So
Mm.
that's gonna be cool. Like I saw screenshots of Kaine, and I was like, what the hell is she doing here? Um,
Mm.
so I don't know what's going on with that. So I'll have to report back in next week. Um, but yeah,
Oh, I have one question about the amusement park. Does it show in the episode? Did it show the whole, like the boss in that?
yeah,
Oh, sweet. All right,
yep.
cool.
And it showed you know how in Route B you kind of get a little bit of the machine's backstory, like you hear it from like
Hmm.
the machine's perspective. You get that simultaneously this time around.
Nice,
Basically, when
nice.
there's a scene where 9S goes to hack the robot, and all of a sudden all the memories just kind of flood into him, so he
Mm.
knows what the robot went through, um, like that you would get in Route B. So that was cool that they're just kind of already like doing those right off the bat. Um,
Heck yeah.
but yeah, um, I'm already I'm already thinking about this is kind of going back. I'm already thinking about what I'm gonna possibly get for trading in God of War. I'm leaning that new Yakuza game or Like a Dragon game, because that's what Yakuza was called in Japan, and now there's one called Like a Dragon Ishin, which takes place in like Meiji era Japan. Um,
Okay. I
so
did see something about that
I'm
on Twitter,
I'm
but I didn't really
thinking
look a
about
lot
it because I've
into
been
it.
hearing some good things about it, and I've always been Yakuza curious, but I've never committed to those games, and that franchise is so huge. But this is like a good way to get in on it because it's
I
like
think
set
I
in a
played
different.
one of them.
This is like set in a different time period. Like it's the same
Hmm.
characters, but they're like playing different characters in this time period. So it's like it's kind of funny. But I
Hmm.
might check it out. We'll have to see. Um, but if you don't got anything else, do you want to get in the news?
Yeah, we can. What do we got today? Something juicy?
Oh, you know, we got a list as usual,
That
where
we
it goes
do.
from like, oh, we don't have much, not much this week, and then oh, here it all comes. Um, first story comes from GameDevelop.com. Firaxis veterans Jake Solomon and Steve Martin depart studio. If you don't know who those are, Jake Solomon, he's the developer behind XCOM, and Steve Martin was the head of the studio since 2006. And if you don't know Firaxis, they obviously they made the XCOM games, but also make Civilization. And also were the
Oh
ones
yeah.
that made that recent Marvel's Midnight Suns that didn't do so hot. Or what was it? Met expectations, but still didn't do as hot as they wanted it to do. So both of those guys are leaving the studio. And then kind of simultaneously announced with this is they did confirm to kind of probably to kind of like cover up the news of like because like let's see, looks like yeah, Jake Solomon joined in 2000, and then Steve Martin was hired in 2002 before he was head of the studio. So they've been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Um, and you think
Friggin'
how
damn
many?
near 20 years
Yeah,
or
you
so.
think like, and then they're being the brainchilds behind Civilization and XCOM and things like that. Um, what they kind of announced to kind of like be like, but they didn't confirm that there's a new Civilization in the works.
Mm.
Um, don't have
Those
anything
games
else
are
to
kind
say.
of cool.
Don't have anything else to say other than that. But it was confirmed by the incoming studio head Heather Hazen, and that comes from The Verge. So kind of like a downer, but also kind of like, hey, you know, maybe they'll help steward this franchise. I'm kind of more bummed about XCOM because XCOM was really cool, but yeah, with Marvel's Midnight Suns not doing as well because it was basically Marvel XCOM. I don't know. And they've been there for a long time, and it's like probably like, I'm probably ready to move on to something else. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't play any of the XCOM games, but I know a lot of people like them. I did play a couple of the Civilization games and similar style games to those. They're fun. They're fun. But yeah, kudos to them. Good luck on wherever what they plan to do in the future. I get it. Kind of tired of just doing the same thing. Want something new.
Right. And if the company wants to keep making that same thing, you kind of can't blame them for wanting to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Next story. I titled this Blizzard President Q&A doesn't go well. This comes from Polygon, and this is the title of their article. Blizzard workers furious after demoralizing Q&A meeting. Blizzard president Mike Ybarra addressed employee satisfaction, but made a lot of workers more angry. Let's see. Outrage and upset after by blah, 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 blah. Shortly after the meeting, Blizzard staff began tweeting about how they called a disappointing showing from leadership and publicly challenged Ybarra's statements. What was his tweets? Oh, yeah, it says here they were going to end the. Oh, that's what it was. They were going to cut profit sharing.
Ooh.
Like, looks like by. Yep, it's going to be cut to 58%. Or by 58%. But obviously, depending on what your split is, that could be. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, the executives probably have a bigger split.
Oh, sure.
And you've got employees there that are being paid between like $14 and $26 an hour, which in Santa Monica is not enough to live off of. So yeah, they did that, and they're kind of like what we were talking about with Activision last week, because they're the same company. They're starting to end their work at home stuff. So cuts to your bonuses, cuts to pay, and you got to come back to work.
Cuts to your work at home, yeah,
and you got to come home back in.
That's a crying shame.
This is just becoming a running theme on this podcast. Like every week we have something to say about Activision Blizzard or somebody in the game space, usually from the West, because you don't hear it too much from the Japanese developers. Like, layoffs and all this stuff again.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise.
Yep. Next story, kind of going along the thing of that. Microsoft has signed, this comes directly from IGN, Microsoft has signed a 10-year deal to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo. Yeah. Don't really got to go much more into that, except, they are going to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo. And my knee-jerk reaction to this is they are trying to look good for the CMA and the FTC that are trying to possibly challenge the acquisition of Activision. Kind of, trying to show the whole, hey, we're not gonna like ice people out. We're gonna put this everywhere, and
we'll throw you a pity bone.
And apparently they offered the same deal to Sony, but Sony didn't take it.
Well,
because Sony's the one that's challenging this right now. They're the ones that are really like trying to shine a light on this and challenging it.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think this is really that much of a great deal, because I feel like Nintendo's audience is not really catered to like Call of Duty style, to be honest with you.
Well, right. And no offense to the Nintendo Switch, but could a Nintendo Switch run a modern Call of Duty?
I mean, like dumb frames though.
I mean, I could probably run the multiplayer, like the smaller multiplayer maps, because they can run Splatoon and stuff like that. But like, I don't see it running anything like Warzone.
No, that's more what I was thinking. Was like, I don't think I could see it running Warzone. That would just jog so bad.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I think this is just kind of like a jockeying for position and kind of just trying to show like, look, we can play ball with everybody, and we're not going to take these games away. And after all, we're still in third place, yada yada.
Well,
yada.
Let's be honest. Like I said, Nintendo, that's not really their style, right? Like you don't get like a Switch to play Call of Duty, right? You get Switch to play like
The Nintendo games.
yeah, then
It's the
the
Nintendo.
classics.
It's the
Yeah,
Nintendo. Like you want to play Pokemon, Zelda, and Mario, like
yeah.
and Metroid and stuff like that. You don't come there to like, yeah, you can play The Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt on there. Would I recommend it? No, I'd recommend playing it on a PC or a PS5 or anything else that's gonna run it a lot smoother. But yeah, technically you can. I have a friend right now that's playing through NieR Automata on the Switch, and they said it actually runs pretty good. Would I say to play it on the Switch though if you didn't have to? No, I'd say try to play it on something a little bit more powerful. But I mean, I don't
Yep.
like I said, I don't see a Call of Duty running on that, and that's not what their audience wants. Like I don't think that really is going to like I said.
Well, here's the other thing. We were talking about this. Their online support is not the greatest.
That too,
And
yeah.
how are you? All right. So one of the main things about games like that, right, is team communication and trash talk. How are you going to do that unless you get a third party app to try and do it with random people? Get out of here. I mean,
Discord. Like I mean that's the only other thing. And now Sony owns Discord, so I mean
yeah, dude. What? Yes.
Next story, and we're sticking to the Microsoft block. Xbox is raising price of the X and S in Sweden. And this comes directly from Video Games Chronicle. Kind of like how we talked about, I think, a week or 2 weeks ago, how they were raising the price of the Xbox in Japan after Sony's
I was just gonna say I was pretty sure I remember we had a story about them raising it somewhere else.
Yep. And before we started this podcast, Sony actually raised the price of the PS5 everywhere but the United States. So now it looks like they're doing the same thing. They're raising it from about $550 to about $600 in Sweden.
That's
This is going equivalent to their currency, of course. Yeah, that doesn't. I don't know. What do you think about that?
What's kind of odd is it because their currency has a better exchange rate than ours? Maybe.
I don't. I'm not sure because I mean they're 500 here.
Right.
So they're 550
so...
to they were originally 550 there. But the rate, but I just think it's kind of like what we talked about last time was that, you know, all these boxes, they're all launching at a loss. They're
yeah,
like and that's not uncommon. I mean, they've been selling PlayStations at a loss since the PlayStation 3. And they just hope to, and so is the Xbox. They just hope to make it up in software sales. So you make up that cost off your games. And there's a lot of Sony execs saying like we should have charged $600 to $700 for PS5. I could imagine with some of the components in the Xbox Series X actually being more powerful than the PS5. That would tell me that they were thinking the same thing. They just didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
And they watched Sony do it first, and then when they probably saw that there wasn't that big of a backlash, they're now slowly doing it in other regions. That's my take anyway. I don't know what
trickle down effect. Yeah.
Right. Well, because like I said, Sony raised it everywhere first, except for the United States, and then you had Japan for Xbox, and now Sweden. I don't know. I kind of expect this. What do you think? Probably is going to start happening everywhere except for the United States, at least for now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that seems to be the trend.
Although there was that story a couple weeks ago too that we had about Sony possibly having a hardware revision and getting rid of the disk drive, but still selling it for $500, and then you buy this disk drive separately.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yep. So I think both sides are starting to regret. One big thing is they launched during a fucking pandemic too, like when nobody had any extra money, and then when they did have extra money, if they weren't spending it on consoles unless they were dumb like us.
Or you could find one.
And now that you can find them, they're starting to see an uptick, but also inflation. Like now people once again don't have that disposable income. So
yeah,
this could be, I mean, usually this is around the time where we'd see the first big price cut, and we're seeing the prices go up.
The price increase. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Next story, which I kind of put this in here because I kind of talked about how this game was kind of meh, but Sega says that Sonic Frontiers sales greatly exceeded its expectations. This comes from Video Games Chronicle. Sega stated that sales for Sonic Frontier. Oh, in a Q&A with last week with Sega Sammy Holdings executive vice president Makoto Takahashi. I think that's Takahashi. Stated that despite the game's Metacritic score being lower than it hoped, the game is sold better than expected. So even though, like, I think a lot of what happened was the same thing that happened with me. We all got it out of curiosity.
Yeah.
And
Well, you know, not necessarily, because actually a lot of the people I know that played it, minus you, all said they really enjoyed it and that it was fun and different.
I mean, it's fun, but I mean, it wasn't. Like I kind of said on I think the first pod when we had this was like Sonic Frontiers 2. If they can iron it out, is going to be solid. But I mean, that's cool to see that it made the money, and they took a chance. They made some money. Now this allows them to take another chance with the next one instead of having to play it safe.
Wait for that Sonic RPG game.
Sonic
Turn-based. Let's
RPG,
go.
Sonic Adventure. I want a Chow Garden again. Give me. I just want to. You know what? Fuck it. Give me a Sonic Chow Garden game. That's it. Don't even make it a full Sonic game. Just give me that. But yeah, so that's kind of cool. I don't know. What do you think about Sonic? Were you ever really a big Sonic fan?
Honestly,
You were more of a Super Nintendo kid. See, I was the Sega kid.
I mean, my cousin had the Sega and we played it. And you probably don't know this, but I had a Game Gear back in the day because it was the first handheld, even though it was big and ridiculously heavy. It was the first one you could play in the dark because it had a full color backlit screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Only didn't have any battery, but plugged it into the wall.
But it was still cool. Yeah. I mean, out of this, like, I would say the Sega camp, Sonic was probably the one I played the most.
Yeah. Okay. What? Just off the top of your head, what's your favorite Sonic game? Like,
Sonic 2, honestly.
Sonic 1. Sonic 1 is my favorite. Sonic 1 is actually my favorite.
I think it's 2. Is
2 is when they brought in Tails.
With Tails, right?
Yep. 2 is when they brought in Tails. Sonic.
Yep.
So the reason why I like Sonic 1 better is you don't have Tails, and and that soundtrack was so much better. I'm sorry. There's people that disagree with me on that, but that soundtrack, I mean, Sonic 2 had a fucking amazing soundtrack too, but Sonic 1, oh, it had such a good soundtrack.
All I remember was it was either 1 or 2 had that factory level that I absolutely hated. And I still hate today.
That was Metropolis.
I don't remember what it's called. I just remember it's like it's a factory. It's like a factory style level, and
is it the chemical zone? The one with the big blue hill, like the big blue hills at the beginning that drop you, and there's like water that goes up and like purple water that goes. Yep, that's the chemical zone. Yep, in Sonic 2.
Yeah, I fucking absolutely hated that shit.
So the one that I loved but I hated was the Mystic Cave Zone in that one. Because it had the one spot that you could fall down, and it was like a pit that you could not get out of. So if you fell down there, you were fucked. Yeah. This
early
story.
Console trolling.
Yep. This story comes from Video Games Chronicle, and I thought it was kind of silly. When I saw how it blew up on Twitter. This comes from Video Games Chronicle and in a recent interview with IGN with Shigeru Miyamoto. Miyamoto says that Nintendo is, quote, always working on a new Mario, but isn't ready to share anything just yet. And this led to people on Twitter being like, oh my God, they're making a new Mario. Oh. And I just kind of thought, well, duh. It's fucking Nintendo. Like, of course they're probably always making a new Mario. Even if they're not working on one right this second, doesn't mean
always are.
They always are. Like, this just kind of seemed like the most, the Twitter thing just made me laugh because it was just like, this is the most obvious fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
I mean, when you say Nintendo, what's the first thing that pops in your head? Mario.
Right.
Like, even before Zelda, I would say Mario. Instantly, you say Nintendo, Mario.
Give me Galaxy 3, Super Mario Galaxy 3.
Oh no, they're doing Super Mario Sunshine, the remake.
Oh, motherfucker. That camera was so fucking broken. Yeah, I would love to see. Well, what would you want to see from new Mario? Would you want them to go more 2D or would you want them to go more 3D?
Um, you know what? Honestly, I liked. I may get slain for this, but I really enjoyed Odyssey with Cappy.
Dude,
Honestly,
Odyssey was amazing. If anybody says that Odyssey sucked,
friggin',
they need to be committed.
I like
Like,
that. The 3D games have been getting pretty good. So I mean, either way, I mean, you give me another Mario RPG. Where's Mario and Luigi or new Paper Mario game, bro? Come on,
I would like to
Nintendo,
see
give it to me.
I would like to see either a sequel to Odyssey or I would love a Galaxy sequel. Sequel to Galaxy 1 and 2. Give us a Galaxy 3 cuz I love me some Rosalina, all right? Rosalina is the top princess in the Mushroom Kingdom. That blue dress and that wand, she can handle her own business.
And it's just going to be another, what is that, Mario Kart?
Yeah, or another freaking new Super Mario Brothers. God
hey, man.
damn.
Good thing you did say Mario Party. I was going to beat you up for that. I love those games.
I used to, but I don't know if I do anymore.
I play it with the kids. It's fun with the kids.
Yeah, I could see it being fun with the kids. I loved the GameCube Mario parties.
Yes.
Fucking GameCube. Here we go. Gushing about the GameCube again. John.
Bro,
Love you,
play
buddy.
Mario Party on the GameCube at Slick's house all the time. Absolutely loved it.
But yeah, so new Mario, and like I said, hopefully but he said they don't have anything to say yet, which I mean, of course they don't.
Of course not.
Nintendo plays everything so close to the vest, like always. So like they're not going to say something unless they have something to say. Like officially. Next story comes from The Verge. And this is kind of like a smaller one that I put in here, but it was a very big game. The original version of Angry Birds is being delisted from the Google Play Store. Which
wow,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, they said that you'll be able to still get it, like because haven't they done sequels now? Like, isn't there an Angry Birds 2 and like a bunch of?
They've got all sorts of shit. They had a Star Wars version of it. Everything.
Right. So yeah, if you've had it in the past, you can still re-download it, but that's kind of crazy. That's kind of like end of an era that they're just all right, we're done.
Angry Birds phenomena is going away. Now if we can just get Candy Crush go away.
Yeah, well that's owned by Activision, which is now going to be owned by Microsoft. So I think we're going to get Call of Duty themed Candy Crush, and we're going to get Halo themed Candy Crush. Even better than canceling it, mixing it with your favorite IPs. Yeah.
Good God. Ugh, kill me now. Terrible.
Yeah, that was just a smaller story. I didn't think you'd have much more to say than that. But this one I kind of threw in for you, because I know you do like your horror, and this is kind of along those lines. Yeah. Blumhouse, which I just was today years old when I heard that it was pronounced Blumhouse, not Bloomhouse. This comes from Game Informer. Blumhouse, who is responsible for Paranormal Activity, the Purge movies, Insidious, the Halloween reboots, and Get Out, they're launching their own game studio. They're getting into game development. And they're going to, looks like, states that the company will target titles with a budget under $10 million, and they're going to be an independent. They plan on being an indie studio. What do you think about that, Mr. Horror Guru?
Dude, I'm excited. I'm excited for anything like that, dude. I'm interested to see what they're going to come up with. I mean, you're the Mr. Indie Games, and I've really been kind of we were just discussing this on the way out of work today. Like, there were games like, now I'm at a loss for words. Like Deltarune and stuff, Undertale. These are all like smaller, like indie style games that I probably would have grazed over if it wasn't for my son. So I'm excited to see some original titles come out of there. Some new breathe some new life into the horror franchise, man. I'm down for that.
All right. Next story here. This is just really small. Comes from GameWorldObserver.com. No More Robots president says that they plan to add every game to Game Pass that they make. And they said that they will do this to relieve immense pressure on our devs. So that kind of tells me, when we were speculating the other week, how much money does Microsoft make off of Game Pass? Well, we don't know how much Microsoft might be making off of it, but it seems like these little indie studios must be doing pretty well. Or
Yeah.
if they think, screw put them out, we'll put them out on Game Pass. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, if we've said it a million times, Game Pass is a great business model. So, yeah, I mean, if they're getting some good revenue on it enough to be like, hey, we're going to put every title on there. I mean, you got to be making something off of it.
And they said to do it to relieve pressure on their workforce. So
now,
it must
see that's key. I like that.
Well, I think what it means is it just kind of guarantees them money. They don't have to do it based off sales because they're guaranteed that money from Microsoft. So they don't have to worry about initially selling as many copies or pre-orders. Yeah, that's awesome. This one I threw in for you. This comes from bloodydisgusting.com. Return to Silent Hill filming on new movie from director Chris Gans begins soon. And he did confirm Pyramid Head is back. That is the quote from the article.
Woo! Now, is he going to have a bigger role? Because I swear he was barely in the first one, which kind of depressed me a little bit. So I'd like to see him have a little bit more time to shine, but I'm pumped. You know I'm pumped. As long as it's better than that, well, we're not going to say that technical sequel movie that was dog shit.
Yep, I knew you'd get a kicker on. And then Pyramid Head. I mean, official. Like they had never said anything. So, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Oh my god, yes.
I knew that one was going to get you excited. I was like, "Oh, yep, Brandon's going to like this one," as I'm adding it to the note. Next one comes from Eurogamer. Capcom sends fighting game community into overdrive with a whopping $1 million first prize for the first Street Fighter 6 tournament. And the prize pool is going to be a total of $2 million. First prize getting $1 million. And that is the largest amount of money. That's the largest prize pool for a fighting game. I mean, I know we've had League of Legends and all these other tournaments, but that's the largest prize pool ever for a fighting game.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the most I ever saw from because I'm not great at fighting games, but I like to watch the tournaments on YouTube. And I think the biggest one I ever saw was a guy holding a check for like 250,000 maybe.
Right.
So yeah, $1 million, that's huge.
Yeah. Which I mean, I think this next Street Fighter is going to be fucking huge.
Okay, so I don't know if you saw this or not, but I'm a piggyback on this off the cuff. But I seen some tweets where they released official shots of Cammy in the new Street Fighter.
We're gonna get to it.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna get to it. Yep.
Oh man.
Yep. Because we'll get to it after this story because we got one more story to go through. Then we're gonna get into it.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's awesome. And like I said, I have a feeling, especially with what we're about to talk about here in a little bit, there's going to be I feel like Street Fighter 6 might finally be the one to put Street Fighter back on the map.
For sure.
We'll see. I'm even thinking about picking it up, and I haven't picked up a Street Fighter game in a while because those games are very technical and very hard. Like if you come from more of like a Mortal Kombat background or even a Tekken background, like trying to climb Street Fighter is like a whole nother beast.
Oh yeah, combo heavy.
Oh, it's combo heavy. It's button it's But we'll get into that here in a second. This last story-ish, I'll say it's last-ish story because we got a few more after this. But this comes from GamesIndustry.biz. Ubisoft confirmed that it will be at E3 2023, if there is an E3. Literally says if E3 happens, we will be there. And they will have a lot to show. So maybe it's because they've been in hot water and they need to show some things.
Assassin's Creed.
Oh my god! And the thing is like they finally announced a Japanese like themed Assassin's Creed, and I feel it's too late because we got Ghost of Tsushima. Like I was like, oh, we already got one, so you took too long.
Game.
Yeah. Yeah, not much too more. But they said if E3 would still happen, they're full speed ahead on bringing stuff. We're still finalizing the details on our plans and look forward to sharing more soon. E3 2023 will be held at the Los Angeles Convention Center on Tuesday, June 13th to Friday, June 16th. So they're still going ahead. And we already kind of reported that Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo aren't going to be there. So,
yeah. Wah, wah.
wah, wah. Yeah. So that's all my main news. I got a big block here though because I watched the Sony State of Play that they held last week on Thursday. And surprisingly, I thought it was going to be majority a VR Direct, but only the first 5 games on this list, the Foglands, Green Hell, Synapse, Journey to the Foundation, and Before Your Eyes, those are the only VR games that they talked about, which I will say Synapse and Before Your Eyes both look really, really good.
Okay.
But they're VR games, so they looked really good. They showed off the new Destiny expansion. Don't got much more to say than that.
Cool. Question mark.
Yeah. They showed off Baldur's Gate 3.
Ooh.
Which
You play the Baldur's Gate games? I did.
I played the first one. And that one has been Baldur's Gate 3 has been in development for a while, and they've had some like tests and some early access runs that have been hit and miss. Some people have really liked them, and then they'll come out with a patch, and then people really hate it. But that's set to come out in August 31st. That's set to come out. They showed off. Let's see. Things that looked interesting to me. I'm not going to list everything in here. Okay, Humanity. This one was a big one for me because it's from the same people who made Tetris Effect, which, if you know me, I love Tetris Effect.
Yeah, I remember you used to gush about that.
It's such a good game. It from what it is, it looks like a puzzly type game to where like you're moving humans around. It's so hard to explain. I will just say go look up a trailer for Humanity.
Okay, check it out.
And the music already too is like, yep, okay, this sounds like fucking Tetris Effect. Or if you played like Celeste way back in the day, it has similar music to, or not Celeste, Luminous back in the day. That has very similar music. 2 indie games that I found interesting was Humanity, and then this other one that I really like the vibe. It's not a lot of people like it. Is Goodbye Volcano High. I was a big fan of a game called Night in the Woods, and if you know anything about the game Night in the Woods, this reminds me of that with dinosaurs. And you're basically playing as like it's like almost like it looks like a high school coming of age story, but you're playing as dinosaurs instead, right before the apocalypse ends, or like right before like the big extinction event. Hence the name Goodbye Volcano High. So it's kind of like if we were to live through a big extinction event or something like that, or it just looked cool. Look up a trailer for that. That looks cool. Another one that looked really cool was this game called Wayfinder, and I'll just straight up say this: it looks like if you were to tell me this was a reskin of Wind Waker, that's pretty much what this is.
Really?
It looks like a new updated version of Wind Waker with different characters. That's what that looks like to me. Oh, Humanity is May 2023. Goodbye Volcano High is June 15th, 2023. And then Wayfinder is going to be actually tomorrow. Is
wow.
coming out. So, and then the 3 big ones that they had at the end, and the one that they spent the longest with, I found the most boring. So we're going to actually do that one first. May 26th, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is coming out, made by the people behind the Batman games, Rocksteady. So kind of has me excited because it's Rocksteady, but also I felt like those games, we talked about that, about how Arkham Asylum was probably the best, and then it kind of just slowly, like, they were good, but it was like each time just, I don't know. Arkham Asylum was peak for me anyway. And then they showed off Resident Evil 4 remake,
Yeah, baby.
which looked really good. If you get a chance to go back and look at
Real
go back and check out the trailer, that looked really, really good. And then they showed Street Fighter 6, which is why I said this is where we're going to come to it. They showed off Zangief, which if you don't know is the Russian wrestler or the Soviet wrestler. They
Yep.
showed off Lily, who looks freaking awesome. I don't know if she's a new character or not because I haven't played Street Fighter in a long time. She's new to me.
I think so.
But like she looked awesome. And then they showed off Cammy. And Cammy looked killer.
Phenomenal,
She looked
right?
so good. She looked so good. Man, my baby girl is caked up. She's got a she's got a badonkadonk on her for days in that model, but like her fighting style looks fucking good. That whole game looks so good. Like I have not been this intrigued by a Street Fighter game in so long. It looks so good.
So that's what I don't understand. Everybody on Twitter today has been nonstop dogging the new Cammy, and they're like, oh, they did my
You
girl
know what
wrong.
it is? Is they put pants on her.
Right. And I'm like, who cares? I think she looks good.
Right.
Bro,
like I like her new outfit. It looks sick. It's like if you haven't seen it, what is basically like a leather pants and jacket type deal, or maybe denim or something.
Dude.
But like it looks good with like the Union Jack on the back of it because she's from England. But versus basically
good.
the borderline thong swimsuit that she's had forever.
Right. No unitard. It makes way more sense. They up like for real.
And she was an agent. She's an agent.
Unitard?
She's an agent. She's not going to be freaking running around in a unitard. Like,
yeah, bro, I like it. I think it looks really good. It's a slick model. It's you know what it is? It's because more of her body's covered up and all
that's what
the
it is.
guys
Yeah,
are fit.
exactly. Yeah.
Which who cares? Like she looks good. It's I guess the term I'd use is it's a more modest look, I guess. But you know what?
It's more realistic. Like
it's more realistic, and to be honest with you, it's painting a better image towards female players, especially younger female players, right? Yeah. In my opinion. And yeah. I'm totally for that, dude. Like,
and you heard what I just said at the beginning. Good. She's still caked up. She still looks good. Dude, she makes them pants look good. I mean,
still great. I saw a tweet where somebody drew like a hand comic of her, and somebody called them jeans, and she was like, these are trousers. I wouldn't be caught dead in jeans or whatever, because like over where she's from, they call them trousers. I was fucking dying, dude.
But yeah, that was pretty much the Sony State of Play. It wasn't very long. It was only about 40 minutes, so it's really easy to get into. And because they said that this was going to be a smaller State of Play, I was actually pleasantly surprised because I kind of held my expectations kind of lower because they said it wasn't going to be that big of a one. But because of that, I was like, this is actually pretty good. It makes me curious to see what the next one's going to be that's supposed to be the big one, which is going to come closer to May. But that
makes you wonder.
Street Fighter 6 was definitely the big one for me. Last two little things we have here is today, the day of this recording, they did have a Pokemon Direct, which I did manage to sneak that into. Not a whole lot to report on that. They did announce a new Pokemon expansion for both Scarlet and Violet. They finally are releasing Pokemon Sleep, bunch of other stuff. Smaller things, nothing too crazy. I think it's cool that they're taking the year to just focus on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and not focus on making like 3 games like they did last year.
Churn out another title instantly afterwards.
Right. So that's cool. And yeah, I don't have much more to say about that. I'm kind of just
what I like about that?
Oh, yeah.
They are taking the time, like you said, they're taking a year off. They're expanding the content for it, and hopefully, like we discussed, polishing and smoothing out some of the issues with that game.
Well, yeah, and then they can come into the next one being like, all right, this is what we've learned. We've learned from our mistakes and bring it all to the table. But yeah, so if you want to check that out, it looks like they released a couple new legendaries too that are going to be part of the DLC. I think it was called Arena Zero or something like that.
Yes,
I can't remember.
Arena Zero.
Yep. So yeah,
and new character for each game too. I saw some artwork of them. They looked pretty cool.
Yep. And this last one I just threw in here because it's little. And I don't really have a source for this. I just knew about it and everybody was saying it. Star Fox turned 30 last week.
That's not little. That's huge.
That's yeah. I mean, I don't know how you feel about Star Fox, but
Bro, Star Fox was fantastic. Always has been. When are we getting another game, bro? Just give it to us.
Well, Star Fox, what that one wasn't it? Star Fox Zero, that wasn't very good. But like Star Fox and Star Fox 64, I know there's some people that don't like Star Fox 64. I love Star Fox 64.
Loved it.
I've never got to play the canceled Star Fox 2, which I get, those little mini Super Nintendos that you can get, I guess. Or
I know what
you could get for a little while. That has Star Fox 2 on it because I don't know if you know this, but Star Fox 2 was in development, and they were like, yeah, we're done with it. And then they came out the N64, and they were like, well, I guess we better scrap this. And they never released it. So they on those little Super Nintendos, they actually have the finished version because it was finished. It was completely done. And they have that version of Star Fox 2 on there. From what I hear, it's okay. But that's kind of cool, and I mean, this is my bias showing, but I was a Falco player in Smash Brothers Melee. I always played as Falco instead of Fox, and I love me some Falco, so I'm obviously gonna shout out Star Fox. So,
bro, it's all about Slippy. He's the best,
dude. But Slippy's not in Smash Bros. Dude, put Slippy in Smash Bros. Though.
It's Slippy.
Put Slippy in Smash Bros. That'll be our.
He's a frog and its name's Slippy. Do I need to?
What was the bunny? What was the bunny's name again? The rabbit.
Fuck, I can't remember.
Yeah, I always played as Falco though because his gun shot slower but did more damage because the bolt was bigger, and his kicks were faster than Fox's. So he was like slightly faster in that sense, and because he was a little bit taller, he had more reach than Fox. Yep. So I always played as a Falco back in the day. But yeah, that's kind of all I got this week. Do you got any, I don't have any emails yet this week. Do you got anything else? Do you got anything that you're doing for the week?
Well, it's the week without the kids, so hopefully I will get some more streams in this week. Saturday I get the kids back. It's one of my older brother's birthdays, so probably no content this weekend. Possibly if the weather's nice, I may try to go disc golf.
There you go.
I haven't really mentioned that here, but like that's something I do. It's not video game related, but
dude, we can talk about that stuff. It's
I do in my free time, which is fun. So hopefully with the weather getting warmer here, I would like to go do that.
Right.
And we have been talking about possibly getting another D&D session in on Thursday, so that would be cool.
Nice. Yeah, I don't have much planned. I'm gonna try to get back to streaming myself. Probably my Saturday as usual. I know I keep saying that. I would like to probably get back into streaming season because I haven't touched that since that stream because I've just been so busy with everything else. But I really, really want to get back to that game. And then I want to keep chipping away at Fire Emblem. Hopefully by next week I'll have God of War finished and we can finally have like our final discussion on that.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
I want to hear how you feel about the ending.
Like I said, fingers crossed. And then I think after that it'll be Strangers of Paradise time because I know that game came out like early last year, like around the time of Elden Ring, but I never got a chance to play it, so I'm gonna finally start chipping away at that. And then maybe I'll be picking up Like a Dragon Ishin just because it's like the newest game that's out for a while. At least the games that interest me on the big AAA front, at least until Final Fantasy 16 comes out. That's kind of the only game that I might pick up. We'll have to see. But yeah, you can follow us on Twitter and YouTube at _BlackBoxSignal. You can follow us on Twitch at BlackBoxSignal. You can email us at blackboxsignalpodcast@gmail.com. Brandon, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/enrageme with an H at the end. And I'm also pretty active on Twitter at enrageme, also with an H at the end.
And you can follow me at chasing_chase on Twitter, and you can follow me on Twitch at chasingchase /chasingchasetv. And as always, I hope you all have a great week. We're going to try to get back to our regular schedule next week, but you never know what happens here. So, as always, stay tuned and stay safe, comrades.